Alright, so I screwed up my recording last time. Let's just go ahead and try again. So I'm going to start a whole new game because I caught that pretty early on here. I'm going to breeze through this. This is a game where you play somebody who becomes president of a fictional country. And there's like a little character generation process here at the very beginning. So it's going to run through that. And then he becomes president. So hopefully the audio here is working fine. Hopefully the video recording is working fine, because this is like the third time I've tried this. Alright, I'm just going to breeze through this. I'm not going to read every little thing. I'm basing this on my own personal experiences in life, but just as if I'm this individual, Alton Rayne, putting myself kind of like if I was this guy during this time period in this fictional country, and kind of trying to correlate it to my own life. So I was born to a middle income family. Okay, life was not bad. Years passed. Da 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 da. Woo, that was a loud bell. Okay. Commotion outside. Principal announced historic. Good evening, class. There's a historic revolution going on outside. Yay! I'd be somewhat worried. I'd definitely be worried. You gotta think, you're kind of wanting things to stay safe and secure. Alright, after graduating, you passed the university exams with high marks. Good for me. You had the opportunity to choose between several studies. IRL, I chose history. Although I do like economics and law as well. I did history for my undergrad. During the first year, you attended a lecture with David Whiskey. He was a well-known diplomat in the foreign ministry, and this guy was saying, hey, realpolitik is a cool thing. Realpolitik, if you do not understand or know much about it, it is the sort of guiding ideology of two individuals that you may know from history, one of which was Machiavelli, the other of which was Kissinger. Who was a Secretary of State, I believe, for Nixon. And the gist of that is it's okay to work with countries that you don't like, or that don't share your values, or who engage in human rights abuses if it improves the position of your country. I personally do not agree with that, so I would question what I'm being taught. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were in shock that the uniformed men created a security cordon, started arresting teachers. A group of students gathered in protest along with your best friend Peter Vectern. You decide to. When I was young, I did a lot of protesting. In college especially. Now I try to avoid it, but when I was young, I was involved. So I would say I would probably protest. Evening ahead of the first election. Okay. Ooh, I joined students that slowly marched towards a large group of soldiers. Suddenly the soldiers charged. A student fell and was trampled as everybody started running away. Ooh, this is interesting. So I'm actually going a different route than I went last time, and I'm presented here with options that I didn't have last time. Fight or flight? They got guns, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm being realistic. I would run off the moment that the soldiers started shooting. Or trampling. Unlike the others, you were lucky to escape. The coup split the students into two groups and caused frequent fights. Torture and imprisonment of any opposing voice became a daily routine in Dare. You didn't want to stay idle and decided to join a human rights or political debate. I think political debate includes human rights, so we're going to go with that. And I hate student council. Dozens of debates helped you grow your oratory skills. You fall in love with somebody. And I am more, I mean, the first thing that you see in a person is beauty, but for long-term attraction, intelligence or diligence, and pure intelligence is nice, but diligence is like, what is something you're passionate about, and how dedicated are you to that? So I'm going to go with diligence. Politically charged environment led you to, when I was in college, I was a bit of a lefty. So we're going to say join the socialists. Ooh, interesting. So, surrender to Lutheran. Okay. They refuse. Heavy fighting. Army was fighting amongst itself. Communist General Ricard started an attack, caused more instability compared to fascist Lutheran. He was a real socialist. At the time, I would say workers of the world unite, but I'm assuming that maybe my views have changed a little bit by this point, because my views sort of altered down the years, and I've started to move towards the center. And so I probably at this point would have moved away from workers of the world unite and thought more about freedom, equality, and solidarity. It's also, what do you want? What kind of society do you want? Do you want workers of the world just uniting for what exactly? We don't know. Just getting rid of the fascists? Well, what do you replace them with? No. This one says what you want, and I'm going to go with that. You were marching under the protection of Ricard's soldiers. Students opposing the coup gathered a few hundred meters in front of you. Many nationalists were among them. You knew something was about to happen. Let's say I stayed. I didn't stay last time. Let's stay this time. Massive clash between the two sides. Soldiers began to beat the students. Tanks started rolling forward. Saw a young girl about to get run over. Let's say I try to save her. I am so glad I didn't just hear a squish. Alright, the class has escalated into a full-blown civil war. The horror has made you isolate yourself for a while. By the way, IRL studies civil wars that are happening in the contemporary world, such as the Syrian civil war, and you will definitely not want to be around people sometimes. Monica helped you cope, and it was a difficult time for love. Indeed it is. A charismatic colonel. Oh, what happened to the general? So, it's like we had a coup, and then we had a coup. We had a coup, we had a coup. We had a coup, we had a coup. It's like we have multiple coups. Alright, this guy seems like a Napoleonic type figure. Writes a new constitution, restores stability. Yep, that's what people liked about Napoleon. People saw him as a savior. He formed the United Sordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate. Did Napoleon actually run for office? I don't think he did. Alright, let's say I did not vote. Maybe I see him writing a new constitution, restoring stability. I see those as good things. But I'm always hesitant to get on board with something that other people jump on board with sometimes. Not for the sake of it, but... Okay, win by a large majority. After graduation, you keep seeing Monica. However, let her arrive in the military. It's my national duty to serve. Okay, I can see my breath. Leading a squad. Alright, this is a conundrum. You're in charge of soldiers and you see a bunch of refugees come from beyond a border fence where they are having their own problems. You're a soldier. You can't be a hero sometimes, right? Think realistically. If you let them slip through, you are the one that's going to face the heat for that. And you might be perceived also as threatening the security of your nation. So, as cold as that sounds. Refugees were in despair. Yep, unfortunately. Offered a high-paying job with the United Sordland Party. That's the only one that sounds like you're not a total selfish jerk. Best opportunity to change the country for the better. Foreign policy assistant to one of the more experienced members of the assembly. Hey, that sounds like a awesome job, working, staying late at work, reviewing dozens of foreign policy plans. Somebody in U.S. Congress. I would love a job like this. Hire me, please. That would be awesome. I will work hard for you. I don't care about the ladder climbing. I just like that type of job. Strengthen the Republic by removing institutions of the former kingdom. Okay. Looking up for the country. Massive economic boom under this guy. So people, he was popular. He's having a good economy. So he's elected again. Preparation. Okay, so we have a trade agreement, and the president wants to talk with me personally and offer me something to become an assembly member. Okay? That doesn't sound like a democratic thing. You're supposed to be elected. So I'll accept with doubts because I'm only offered those two choices. It was difficult to connect with the inner circle. You needed allies, so you brought Peter as your right-hand man. The birth of your son provided a brief moment of joy and relief. You sacrificed work to spend time with your family. During your absence, Peter found trustworthy contacts and strengthened your position. At the same time, President Sol increased his authority over the years. His growing ego started to cause strife with the party. So the President Sol guy doesn't sound bad necessarily. He just isn't a big supporter of democracy. By the way, yeah, he's been elected 5 times. That's a problem. Discontent with corruption. Okay. This guy's starting to sound like the Belarus dictator. I'm going to say I watch from the sidelines because I've done this before and the opposition is kind of very big on free trade and I don't want to be like supportive of that necessarily. So I'm going to watch from the sidelines. A reformist and talented business magnate. President Sol was meeting party members one by one. Oh, he approached me. So I went with supporting the opposition, and I wasn't approached the last time. So this time he approaches me. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade in the government, if you back him. Whew. Interesting. So, I'm being offered an opportunity. Support him and he'll throw me a bone. Don't support him, and I don't know what'll happen. This one's hard. Ooh, this is a hard decision, because last time he didn't even approach me, and so, yeah. Interesting. I think this is one of those things where I have to be firm. If I don't support him, I don't support him. So, I need to be vocal about my rejection of his corruption. So I'll reject him. Alright, voting for the... Oh, now I have to pick between these two people. A reformist or Tarquin Sol. I'm not even given a third option at this point. This is going to be kind of difficult because I've positioned myself as neither him nor him, and so I'm not getting enough brownie points with either. Alright. Well, I don't support free trade, and my main concern with this guy is his corruption. So do I vote for the corruption, or do I vote for the guy who's free trade? We're going to vote for him. Sol announced his retirement from politics. You knew the structure he had established was to stay. The country had become increasingly authoritarian. You... were troubled by his departure, didn't care about who was in charge. Let me think. If I'm under a dictator, and he's finally, not dictator, but authoritarian guy, and he's finally gone, am I just glad he's gone, or do I not really care? I think I'd be glad that he's gone. Okay. I'm going to do my best not to help this guy, because I don't necessarily support him. The main opposition leader was embroiled in a sex scandal. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Over the next few years, I did my best to make Sordland a better place, tried as necessary to climb up the ladder, and dedicate myself to the party. Selfish, groupthink, or human rights oriented, sure. The presidency of Alfonso saw many bold reforms, but was followed by a serious economic recession. Unfair system hampered all opposition efforts to win. You worried that your reputation would be tarnished. I don't care about my reputation. I'm going to say I'm worried about the economic recession, because party is kind of a selfish thing, right? The country is going to be suffering from the economy, so. Together with Peter, your presence in the USP grew, and you became a face of a new wing in the party. You effectively took over the leadership as President Alfonso lost control of the country. So I'm a new wing in this party. Okay, you had to make a move. You blamed Alfonso for the crisis on television, bribed and extorted Alfonso, advised him to step down. Talking head, corrupt, come to him personally. You had good intentions, it didn't work. It's best to go. He didn't take your advice seriously and started to reshuffle his cabinet, but most of his inner circle abandoned him. Your diplomatic attitude made the party vote you in as leader. Following this, you announced that you would be running for president in the general election with Peter as your running mate. It was your turn. After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to enact democratic reforms. That's probably what I would do. Let's see. The people are tired of empty promises. We need fundamental change in our institutions and government. A solid and transparent democracy awaits us. Brothers and sisters, I hate saying that. A new constitution and new age is upon us. Whenever I hear brothers and sisters, I always think of this one politician who is elected up in Washington State. I don't want to say her name, but she's always saying, brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters. I'm like, oh my god, I get it, you're a left-winger, but after a while, that just sounds so cringy. Or, instead of saying brothers and sisters, saying comrades. I'm like, I get it, you fetishize the Russian Revolution. Alright, can we just say, to my fellow Americans, or whatever country you belong to. Alright, the broadcast ended. Time to face the truth. As Anton Rayne, you have made many promises to the people of Sordland in order to gain their votes. They must be considered very carefully. Alright, so, for me personally, my position on the economy is a mixed economy. However, they are making me choose between a free market and a planned economy. So, considering that we're coming straight from Alfonso, who was about free market reforms and that has caused an economic crisis, I would probably want to go back towards more of a planned economy. And personally, I believe in what's called the American system of economics. And if you've studied anything about Alexander Hamilton, that's kind of the thing he proposed. But my own economic viewpoint is something of a mixture, really, because it's like the American system of economics plus the sort of third way social democratic economics. So it's kind of like a mixture of that. It's very much a mixed economy. That's my sort of perspective. And you can't do everything at once with those kind of things, right? You gotta. What is more immediate, right? In terms of government involvement, what's more immediate? What's more important? I don't believe in free markets. I don't believe in free trade with all countries either. Free trade with democratic allies, yes, but protectionist policy when it comes to undemocratic adversaries or rivals. So, even though it's not having the option for international trade policy, it's just giving you two kind of blanket policies here. So, diplomacy, intensifying global rivalry between capitalist Arcadia, America, and Communist United Soviet Union. So, America, Soviet Union, okay? I would say let's ally with the West. This sounds like a contradiction, by the way. You say, hey, you don't promote a free market, but you wanna ally with somebody with a free market. I believe America should have this social market economy, whatever you want to call it, a mixed economy as well. So, but USSR alliance? No. Nope. Immigration. In recent years, Blundish, Wessex, and Golan immigrants flocked to Sordland due to relaxed immigration laws enacted by Alfonso. Tensions between the Swords and immigrants have been increasing. We're going to tighten immigration. So, here's the thing. In the event of a war, you need an ally. You can't sit on the sideline. So you need to make a choice. The economy's in shambles. If I continue the economic policy of my predecessor, then I will have problems. So we're getting an ally. We are fixing the economic problem, hopefully. And we are preventing the sort of lawlessness that comes with a flock of immigration due to too relaxed immigration laws. I believe personally that countries should allow for immigrants. Of course, there should be a process, and they should ultimately agree with the values of the country to which they are immigrating to. So there should be an element of that. Okay. What is going to be my focus? And I'm going to make my focus either one of these two things. And you might think, not education or healthcare. Here's the thing. You got to think, what is the primary concern? What is the primary threat a country faces? And it's oftentimes something internally, rampant crime and lawlessness, or it's something external. So, education and healthcare, important as well. It all depends. You have to organize your priorities. So this is something where I should have already seen what some of these crises are. It didn't say anything about healthcare being an issue. And I seem to have gotten an education in this game, so I don't know how bad of an education issue there is. It did say that there's a, right here, increased crime is pushing law enforcement to their limits. Military says it protects it from threats. Yeah, we get it. But it's also, there's a big financial problem right now. Yeah, we're going to go with law enforcement. I will not be defunding the police here. People like safety, people like security, and also the court system, right? You want to be able to have a steady flow of these legal cases as needed. You can't just dismiss legal cases because, oh, those were pretty minor crimes. I mean, a crime's a crime, right? If you just dismiss it, people are more than likely going to commit those crimes again, and you're going to lose support of people. People generally like when you have a tough on crime approach that also is responsive to the needs of a community, right? You don't want to necessarily have an abusive police force. You want to have a police force that is professional, civic-minded, and supported. So, yeah, law enforcement. They will remember your decisions. 2 weeks have passed. Alright, well, let's see. Now is about to be sworn in as the 4th president of Sordland. Watching my inauguration. Did I just click something? Okay. I'm just kind of reading through this. I don't want to read it out loud here. Each individual was promised an important position on my cabinet. Yeah, I'll have something to say about that here in a second. Alright, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Can I click on his name? Ooh. Alright. Well, this guy might be an issue. Alright. The time for the oath has come. At least he's being professional, so. Let's get to work. I'll try to be friendly towards him. It's been an honor. Oh, not brothers and sisters, okay. Dear citizens of Sordland. That's the most civic sort of minded one. I would go with that. There we go. Dear citizens of Sordland. The economy is in shambles. See, this is why I sort of have that belief in a mixture of the sort of American form of the American system of economics as expressed by Hamilton and the Whig Party that later followed. They had this American system of economics platform as well. But then also mix that with a little bit of social democratic elements. So it's like a little bit of government, a little bit of, you could say social welfare, what have you. Whatever strengthens the nation. And whatever strengthens the nation, if we can do that in a fair, non-corrupt, transparent process. Alright, we will eliminate poverty. I would never say that. That is, hey, we're going to eliminate poverty by the next election. First, we must rewrite our broken constitution. Obviously, there's a broken constitution going on here. They have had the one guy who got elected like 5 times. That should never have happened. So we're going to fixed its broken constitution. Yep. Okay. Our capacity has never been greater. I like that phrase. Raise fist, to socialist wave, to capitalist, I guess. Enjoy the moment. Just, yep, breathe in. You made it, buddy. One of the presidential guards came by to notify that it was time to leave. I made my way to the car. Jet black Cadillac. Next to it, a man holding the door. Sergey. Hello, Mr. President. President? Oh, maybe I should just give him like a sort of Slavic accent. If you allow me to... No, I can't do it. I'm your new driver. Alright. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Alright. He wants to hear his name. Nice to meet you, Sergey. On the way, Sergey proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. I found myself lost in thoughts. I do that a lot. Paying attention to what he was saying, he suddenly made a gesture towards the now closer palace. It's a beauty, isn't it? The Maroon Palace. Looks like the Taj Mahal. Actually, I don't know if that looks like Taj Mahal. What color is maroon? Is that related to burgundy? Highly secure situation room. Okay. Reminded of his duty. So do I, Sergey. It's the beating heart of the nation. Okay. Have a great day, Mr. President. Amargana Wiskor. Morning will come. Victory is close. Is it Vector and Sista? Vector and Sista. I made my way upstairs to the extravagant quarters of the palace. Marble and engraved wooden finishes decorate the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal halls. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. The game has saved. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here because that was a long... Yeah, I was even rushing that, right? That took 33 minutes to get to this point. Originally, it took me about like almost 50 minutes to get to this point. And there's still a lot of other tabs we could go through and read. Country overview, which talks about a variety of policies, people, situations. There's all sorts of things. And I think the most important things are anything that is red here. Political overview, so people you got to work with. By the way, I would have preferred to have picked these people. I understand the point of the game was you promise these people these positions, etc. But personally, I would rather have had like a menu of options and been able to choose which individuals would be in these positions. Because, in my opinion, one of the most important things a president does in the United States when they become president is who they are delegating these positions to. Your Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Treasury, and your all these other cabinet level positions, they're pretty important. And you want to make sure you're putting people into those places that best align with your vision for that specific kind of area, right? If you put somebody into the Secretary of State, like, so I told you I don't believe in realpolitik, but if I put Henry Kissinger into, I guess the equivalent here is the Ministry of the Interior. If I put him there, then I have a problem, because the person who's in that position that I put there, I don't agree with. And he's going to perhaps make decisions that I don't agree with. So, gotta be very cautious. Talks about factions, legislature, judiciary, and the sort of ideological bent of the judiciary. It's interesting. Interesting. So, a lot of things to consider, and I'm going to have to go around, apparently, and look around the world. Ooh. Did they develop they developed like a whole language? Sordish? Intabergia, original suspender, ole emotes kind of looks German. Well, I think it's a good stopping point. So, we're going to keep playing this later. I look forward to it. Oh, one more thing. You can take your own notes. That's so cool. Why don't more games do that? That's no, I don't. This doesn't tell me much. I don't quite like that. Ooh. I like this. The ability to read newspapers. Okay. Kind of keep up to date with what people are thinking about you. Settings, don't care about that. Journal, codex. Can I... What's the home button? Ooh. You just sit here and read. Reading the game. Characters, history, locations, organizations. I feel like I just, this game is more like an interactive book. Interactive choose your own adventure book. That's pretty cool. Ideologies. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Alright. Well, we are going to... I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through some of this on my own time and then record when I'm done doing some research. Because there's a lot here. So, y'all have a good one.